Well, I thought I would extend the remit of this channel. I'm not sure there are really enough people interested enough in writing poetry to make a channel out of it. Possibly there are, but it's difficult to really make contact with all of them. So perhaps it's better if I extend it to other aspects of creative writing as well, such as novels and short stories. I've had one novel and perhaps 4 or 5 books of short stories published. They're available at the moment as well. The first 3 books of short stories I had published was called was under the name of John Aristides, and they were kind of fantasy stories. As I say, they're still available on Amazon if anybody's interested. The first one was called The Mask of Priam, the second, The Black Scarab of Amun-Ra, and the third one was The Third Eye of Shiva. In addition to that, I've written a book of horror stories called The Devil's Apprentice and Other Tales of Victorian Terror. And one novel, Calypso of the Appenine Way, which is based in Italy. So I thought perhaps I could begin by reading the novel in installments, Calypso of the Appenine Way. The title is kind of referring to Italy's Roman past and the main thoroughfare through the mountains. And of course, Calypso, the nymph from the Odyssey by Homer, who fascinates Odysseus so much. So there's this reference really to the classical past of Italy, and that's important, I think, in the context of the novel. It's kind of a love story, but I hope it's about more than that. It's about the nature of words and what you can do with them and what's important in life and what you should dedicate your life to. So, classic things that writers do talk about. So, like I say, I think the first thing I will do is read this short novel. It's about 160 pages in a series of installments. And I think it's quite a good novel for what it is. And I hope I can do it justice in terms of my reading. So let's get started. We begin with the prologue, Calypso of the Appenine Way. The first time I saw Eleonora, I was walking along Via Mazzini with Howard Verity. Howard had a way of suddenly darting into a moving wave of people, extracting a person from the crowd, invariably a woman, and kissing her on both cheeks in the Italian way. Usually the people singled out in this manner were middle-aged, often friends and acquaintances of his wife. On this occasion, however, the recipient of his attentions was a young and very beautiful red-haired girl. I took the girl's hand, and in her eyes I saw that look a man recognizes so well in a woman's glance. It was obvious that she expected me to kiss her in the same manner, but I didn't do so. A multitude of conflicting thoughts pushed through my mind in the space of a few seconds, and I decided, even in those moments, that this was something to be developed in the future. Even the natural warmth of her hand held special electricity for me, as if very strong positive and negative energies had suddenly been forced together. How to describe Eleonora? How should I describe this girl who, in the course of just a few years, was to bring me so much that was very wonderful, and yet misery as well? What are words? How should we use them? What is their power? If I could think that theoretically at least, a pen could have the power to capture reality and hold it in some beautiful guise for all time, then a half-page description of this girl would be a worthy lifetime's work. But words are sometimes treacherous, subtly shifting their meanings and undermining perfection at the most unexpected moments, imparting only sad shadows of those significant events which have transfused and enriched our lives, like melancholic photographs, recording all the humdrum narrative of every day without any further significance or meaning. Eleonora was beautiful by any standards, but I have known many beautiful women, and none of them were like her. Her power lay more in a combination of simplicity, intelligence, and beauty, and your knowledge that finally the emotional truth would always prove most powerful in her relationships with the world. Like most desirable people, she possessed an innate sense of her own uniqueness and beauty, and through this quality created desire in others. When I first met her, she would have been about 25 and in the prime of all her gorgeousness, though in any case, I do not think that a beauty such as hers, rare and simple, would be susceptible to the aging process. She was very proud of her hair. On that first occasion we met, it fell tumbling thick and beautiful, all fiery red, even approaching orange in color, over her perfect shoulders and breasts. The cut of her face in its strong, almost masculine symmetry was reminiscent of bold profiles taken straight from Italy's Roman past. Below her high, strong cheekbones was a geometrically structured aquiline nose and a strong, voluptuous mouth, which was shaped like a bow, with a final and triumphant upward turn at each extremity of her lips. Her chin was perfectly proportioned and suggestive of great strength of character and intelligence of mind. The searing green eyes were set in that great fine head like emeralds in a golden vault, and her spiritual and emotional life was clearly to be discerned in their constantly changing aspects. The beautifully classic and symmetrical face was lightened and made more sympathetic by a gently endearing shower of soft red freckles. The lines and proportions of her body were, in a word, perfect, while her dress sense enhanced her obviously very clear sense of personal identity. On that particular day, I remember she was wearing a bright yellow cardigan which provided a bold and gorgeous contrast to the thick red hair falling all over it. Generally speaking, it would be accurate to say that Eleonora dressed in a diversity of classic styles, though often with great ebullience of form and colour. She occasionally surprised me, and I still vividly remember the sight of her striding down the road, lovely strong legs eating the distance to in the shortest of short, tight black miniskirts, her long, thick, at that time almost waist-length hair falling and blowing around her perfect breasts and thin waist. Never have I known a girl whose outward form more accurately indicated her inner spirit, and maybe in this simple and truthful combination of beautiful things lay the secret of her continual fascination. Well, that's the end of the prologue. Sorry, there were a couple of pauses, but I was reading it from the computer and had a little problem with the scrolling. I hope it didn't cause too much of a problem. So I will continue with chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Obviously a prologue sets the scene, and that's what I tried to do here, just show that the novel is not just a love story, but about some deep issues and concerning life, language, how we describe life, what's important in life, so on and so forth. So these things will become more apparent as I read more. So I hope that's useful.